Hello, this is my dwarf broad bean, the Sutton, growing in a 10-inch pot. I think in the United States you may call these guys bush beans. They just make a small bush. I think you can see we've got quite a few beans on here now, and I think we're ready to harvest. It's been in this pot about 4.5 months. Okay, there are 4 of them. But before we harvest them, I'm going to dovetail in a couple of clips that shows you how we got to where we are today, and then we'll harvest these beans. Clips aren't very long, hope you enjoyed them. Come back to me, we'll harvest these beans. These are a dwarf broad bean called the Sutton. There are 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, in this 10-inch pot, protected by these pop bottles held in place by rocket sticks. That's just to keep the wind off them. Now these guys have been in here about a month. Okay, you're probably not getting much there, but bear that in mind. These guys have been in here about a month. Now let's have a look at some that have been in a pot 3 months. Okay, look at the difference. These guys have been in this pot 3 months. I'm sure you can see those beans, surely. They're covered in them. Okay, they're not ready yet, and that's why we can't do a start to finish video, because they're not finished, we're not ready to harvest them. But I just thought I'd show you the growth spurt from 1 month to 3 months in the pot. And these are supported by rocket sticks, and clearly I've had to take the windbreaks off them. The reason I'm supporting these with these rocket sticks is that it is quite windy still. Not today, not now it isn't, the time I'm shooting this video. But it has been windy all week, so we still need to support them. There, look, you know, these guys are covered in beans. Let's hope these pods fill up, and we can show you a start to finish video later on in the growing season. These are the dwarf broad beans, covered in flowers after 2 weeks in this pot, transplanted into this pot. The problem with the windbreaks now is they actually prevent flying insects pollinating the flowers on these broad beans. So they've got to come off, can't leave them on. So they've served the purpose, they've been a windbreak. These plants are a bit stronger now, hopefully they'll stand up. But if they won't, we'll simply support them with some of these guys. Rocket sticks, won't we? We'll support them with rocket sticks if they're not strong enough to stand up on their own. So we're going to tease these off. Hopefully they won't all flop over, and we'll expose those flowers so that the bees and the insects can pollinate them. How's that? Looking good. Okay, so if you've followed my gardening tips and you've used these guys, these pop bottles, if you've got anything inside them that's producing flowers, then these are going to act as a restriction to the flying insects, the bees and the pollinators. So you actually need to take these off once you've got flowers. As you can see, we're dog sitting again. See if Molly can knock this camera. No. Come through more, please. Right under the tripod without disturbing it. The one nearest to you is Tess. Tess is a lurcher. And the one furthest away is Fern. And Fern's a lurcher. Molly needed no introduction. The only one that you haven't seen is Dottie. Dottie's the Patterdale Terrier staying with us. I'll try and get Dottie in the shot. I'll just move this camera around. There's Dottie, sitting indoors. Hello, Dot. There she is now, coming out. Come on. I think it's a bit too warm for Dottie. It's a warm day today and she's a black dog, so... Okay, let's harvest these beans. How are we going to do this, Molly? Pull this back here. Just take these guys off like this. Now Molly likes the beans, so she's in close attendance. Presumably she suspects there's something for her. And I'm sure there is, Molly, yeah. There'll be something for you. Come round this side. Good girl. Come here. Good girl. And of course this is the time when you can decide whether growing bush beans in pots, dwarf broad beans in pots, whether it's worth it. And I suppose what we get here today, I'll give you a steer on that, won't it? Oops, there's one on the ground. Molly, keep off. Just hold on, we'll collect that in a minute. Now if you've got a raised bed or an allotment, you'll be growing standard size beans, I guess, and they'll be much bigger than these. These are, as the name implies, small. They're a dwarf bean, they're a bush bean. But hey, if you haven't got much space, you know, if you're growing on a patio, on a path, this is possibly all you can grow. You've no room for anything bigger. How's that? Let's pop this to one side, Mol. I think we've got them all. How's that looking? Right, we'll get a container, Mol, and we'll shell these. Just hold on, I'll recover this one. Right, I'll get a container and we'll shell these. Let's see what we've got. First one for you, Mol, nice small one. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because this might take a while. I'll actually speed this section of video up and show you, oh excuse me, and show you what we've got at the end of this. Let's see if I can just open one of these guys up without breaking it into several pieces and just show you what's in the pod, and then we'll speed it up. Hold on. I don't know if you'll see that. You may do. The sun's quite bright, so it's sometimes quite reflective. But I hope you can see that. There are just 3 beans in that pod. But hey, they're a nice sized bean. They're okay. There just isn't many of them because it's a dwarf variety. Last one, you'll be pleased to know. Okay, so I'm going to offer these up to the camera now and let you see what this pot's just delivered. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you decide to grow bush beans, dwarf broad beans in a 10-inch pot, and you plant 4 in your pot, that's what you can reasonably expect to get back. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is Homegrown Veg signing out, but not until we found a small one for Molly, who's waited patiently. You go, sweetheart? Yeah, she's enjoyed that. Come on, let's go, Mo.